So 2023 was a pretty good year for anime. There were a lot of amazing and fire shows, but that doesn't mean there weren't any bad eggs, because personally for me, there were quite a few anime I dropped. And it's not gonna be like, oh, I dropped that anime because it just wasn't for me or it was boring. No, there's only maybe 2 I could say that for. The majority of these I dropped because, well, you'll see. Now, some of these I dropped halfway through a season. Hell, even some I dropped after the season was over, which I know is bewildering. You'll understand when I talk about those anime. But first, let's get the easy ones out the way. The winter anime season, I only dropped 2 anime. One of them I'll talk about later when things get a little spicy. The other one is Nier. I dropped this after the 3rd episode. With this getting an anime adaptation, I thought this was going to be a hit. I thought this would have been easier for him to digest and finally learn about the story. I know it had production issues, but even if it didn't, I just did not care to try to continue watching it. This world, this universe, it's just so uninteresting to me. I know I'm better off playing the game, but I just can't get very far into it. Because every time I try to play, I just...
You just don't get it. You fucking piece out your brain when I send this masterpiece level of writing. The alchemist, all the different intricate plot points, all the twists and turns is phenomenal. And don't get me started on 2B. That's an amazing, strong, and beautiful ass.
As a game, yes. As an anime, nah. The spring anime season I dropped 4 anime. 2 I'll get into later. The other 2, My Home Hero and the Megami spinoff. So My Home Hero I dropped after the 6th episode. This looked promising. You know, a father ends up murdering his daughter's boyfriend as part of the Yakuza because he was using her and abusing her. So now the father and mother had to hide it from the daughter and the Yakuza. But that's where the problem lies. The father didn't plan any of this to happen, but he knew he was getting involved with the Yakuza. So why put your family in even more danger? You already got beat up and exposed by one of them the day before. Which, by the way, L fucking citizens were standing by when he was yelling for help. You know, I was hoping maybe a couple episodes after the father bashed the boyfriend's brains, he would start to slowly snap, maybe become like a mini John Wick. I know he's just an average office worker, but you know, do or die. This is my only kid. Whatever it takes, I'll protect her. Yeah, he tries, but he just ends up being abused and taken advantage of. I don't know if any of that changes later on, but it didn't seem like there were any signs of that happening. And even though this is supposed to be a gripping story of a normal family getting caught up in the dark underworld, I didn't feel any of that emotion. I think this will work out a lot better as a live action, and it just so happens to be one. I might have to check it out. Now, the Megami spinoff, I dropped it during the middle of the 3rd episode. Everything that makes Konosuba great, enjoyable, funny, it's wacky scenarios.
シルビアさん、シルビアさん、俺の血になんか当たってるんですが。当てたのよ。
Yeah, take all that away and his character just leaving Megami before Cosmo came into this world, and all you have is this soulless hustle with this mundane school life. Yes, we all love Megami, she's a goofy idiot, only cares about one type of magic. I don't care about these uninteresting characters who are mostly irrelevant. They're like maybe 1 or 2 of them. I especially do not give a fuck about this pointless voice talk with these 2 characters. Who are ya? On top of being bored and I think falling asleep during the 2nd episode, this is where I checked out. There's no charm to it. It feels like it's lost its identity. Honestly, the series can't stand on its own without Cosmo Aqua, which is very disappointing. I thought this could hold me down to season 3 of Konosuba. The summer anime season I dropped 5 anime, Gene AI, Dark Gathering, Venom Machine, 7 Spellblades, and Help. Gene AI I dropped after the 5th episode, and Dark Gathering I dropped after the 4th episode. Both for the same reason. These look very interesting, but they weren't what I was expecting. Gene AI seemed like it was supposed to be this psychological drama about humans and robots, but it wasn't really robots. It was humans putting their soul, their data into these androids to continue living or something. I don't know, it was very confusing. They didn't really explain it properly. It just dragged, it felt episodic, and the plot wasn't really moving. Honestly, what I remember the most was the main character's assistant being infatuated with him, and also these weird ass frog eyes. Dark Gathering was supposed to be this horror anime. Ooh, spooky. Why did a demon take my mom and force his tentacle down her throat? Hey, yo. Yeah, it was pretty goofy. It felt like it was trying hard to be quirky and different. Main character is portrayed as a coward, but he might actually enjoy being scared by these demons and evil spirits, so he's a masochist, but both of these were such letdowns. Venom Machine, come on, who wouldn't drop this? I dropped it after the 6th episode. It was somewhat decent. It was more of an experience. You know, where do we go from here? How useful can he be as a Venom Machine? Should we explain how he became one? What are the limitations? How far do we want to go? How far should we go? And I seen all I needed to. I had no investment in the world or any of the characters. I can't see this series being long because it would definitely get old real fast. Anime Harry Potter and Hulk, I just stopped watching at the 12th episode. I don't know, for some reason I just lost any interest I had in these shows. Anime Potter had potential. You got wizards, a wizard school, a magical world that has a samurai clan, and the twist that instead of wands they use sword to cast spells, but they also actually learn sword combat. You know, at first you don't know where it's really going. It's a little slow. You learn about the characters, the world, and how things work. But after episode 6 we find out, oh, this is a revenge story. Hold on, the main male MC might actually be him. This is looking a lot darker and gritty. Then it just kind of regresses back to the previous episodes where not too much is going on. Never reached that same type of quality and hype. Hulk, I really enjoyed characters at the beginning, but once Hulk and Vermillion get teleported to the island, I felt like things became so slow. And there were just a lot of questions popping up that were unanswered. There was just too many things shrouded in mystery. Who really is Hulk? What's going on with the humans? Who's really the bad guy? After they leave the island, it felt like there's a dip in quality with the writing and obviously the animation. It also became very apparent that this world is boring. There's nothing interesting about it. There's no entertaining characters roaming or traveling in it. Honestly, I don't know if people love or hate Pee-wee, but even he couldn't hard carry any enjoyment the show had left. It's really such a shame too, because I like the cast of characters we were introduced to at the beginning, but it was such a slow burn that took too long to go anywhere. The fall anime season, I dropped 6 anime. 2 I'll talk about soon. The other ones are Reborn as a Pig, Ragnar Crimson, Fighter Fighter Daigo Rescue in Orange, and Shy. Perfect Pig I dropped at the beginning of the 3rd episode. You know, when I was predicting the anime for this season, I got to this one. I was praying it was going to be about some girl falling in love with this pig, that it would be perverted. I was hoping it would be about just some guy getting turned into a pig and a girl with some trauma. And it was going to be a sad, heartfelt, heartwarming journey of becoming stronger people and turning this pig back into a man. But ew, who the fuck wants that? So unfortunately, my fears came true. It was just this horny pig man making sexual comments to this girl, and she was okay with it.
そう思うのなら今度はもっと面白いものを見せてほしいものだ
There was also signs of romance happening. Will it be when he's a pig or when he turns back to human?
The world may never know.
Let's keep it that way. Ragnar Crimson I dropped out of the 5th episode. Initially I thought it was gonna be either good or okay, but it's neither of those. It's pretty ass. It's a bunch of edgy, edgelord cringiness. It appears to be hype, it's really not. The fights are pretty mediocre. There's really nothing good I can say about this show. The main character is just dark, rage. You goddamn dragons, your kind don't belong here. I'll eviscerate you off my country. How dare you kill my best friend in a different timeline, who's this little girl who I look up to, who I also bathe. Right. Firefighter I dropped out of the 3rd episode. I respect this one a lot. It's very unique and different from your traditional anime. It's a breath of fresh air. But this is one of the ones that just wasn't for me. I enjoyed my time with it though. Shy I dropped out of the 7th episode. I really enjoyed the first few episodes, but it felt like it got to a point where the plot and story was holding back. It wasn't showing anymore that this could potentially get darker and brutal. Like in episode 4, we have Shire MC proving to Target All Might, Stardust, that she deserves to be a hero. So Marshall's All Might is 29 years old, a whole grown ass man, fighting Shy, a 14-year-old girl. Surely he's gonna hold back.
こう殴るんだよ。出ないと。そうか。
See, I needed more of that. I mean, not against her, but against the bad guys, against the adult heroes. Like, be bloody, visceral, don't hold any punches. Separate yourself from most hero shows. Yeah, she's a child, but that's what makes it a little unique. She knows the danger. She chooses to continue being a hero. You know, something similar to Adam Eve. Obviously not on that same level, but it's not always gonna be rainbows and sunshine. Now, I don't know if that's just the anime or if that's how it was in the manga. I don't know if they can change later on. If it does, maybe I'll continue it at some point. Also, last thing, I wasn't the biggest fan of the antagonists being children. Maybe they're not human, or maybe they're ruthless. I don't know. Okay, it's time to possibly ruffle some feathers. It's time to get spicy. Let's start it off with Undead Unluck. I dropped this after the 10th episode. Now, I try not to throw the word mid around too much, but this anime is a definition of very mid. I don't see why people were excited for this. I don't understand why people were hyping this up. Sure, maybe as a shonen it stands out a little. Yeah, there's some cool fights and action scenes, but it's kind of rinse and repeat. Cut off a body part, shoot said body part, use my blood in some way, and to finish the job, let's just all Fugo. Which that is one of my biggest problems with this anime. Why is that such an important plot point to have Annie, this old ass man who has lived for hundreds of years, sexually harassed and assault Fugo? It's not funny. Honestly, it takes you out of it when it's supposed to be a cool or serious moment happening. It just feels like such a mid to late 2000s anime. Like, you can't even recommend this to anyone. What are you gonna say? Oh yeah, it's about this guy who can't die. He meets this girl who, if you touch, brings misfortune to that person, and the more she cares about them, the more catastrophic it is. So he comes up with the idea that he's gonna pass to harass and assault her until she falls in love with him, so he can possibly die. The fuck? Yeah, good luck with that. Also, I'm just now realizing that that's very selfish. So she finally falls in love with him. Basically, he would be her only family. Okay, time for me to die. My other biggest problem with this anime is the 2 main characters are insufferable. Andy the molester, nothing else to really say. You don't even believe his conviction of wanting to die. Fuko would just waste his potential. She doesn't stand up for herself. She just lets people run all over her. She's basically a tool and supposed to be the butt of some joke, but it's not amusing. It's not a bad show. It just feels dated. Like it's stuck in a different time period. And there's just so many things that take away my enjoyment from this anime. Heavenly Delusion I dropped immediately after the first season finished airing, which is truly unfortunate because it's a really good show. It was very interesting. If you have not watched it, I would say I recommend it, but that's up to you to decide after I explain what infuriated me enough to drop it. I will will say this is spoilers for the last 2 episodes. Also, trigger warning. It's a very, very disturbing and violent thing that happens. I'll put a timestamp if you want to skip to the next anime. Okay, so in episode 12, Kiriko reunites with an old friend she's been looking for. She tells Maru to stay behind so that they can catch up, figure out things related to the story. Fast forward to nighttime. Oh yeah, I didn't mention this, but Kiriko is really Haruki, her younger brother. He's somehow trapped in his sister's body. So Haruki feels relieved that he's not alone anymore. He has his old friend now, who he trusts. Haruki finishes showering and he's wondering where his clothes are. His old friend tells them he warmed up the room to just come in like that. Since this is an old friend that the little brother was close to years ago, he doesn't think too much of it. So, knowing how much the little brother admires and looks up to the old friend, he breaks that trust and takes advantage of the moment and handcuffs him. The old friend knows that it's really Haruki inside his sister's body. He taunts and mocks him that shouldn't he save his sister, that he has to watch what he's gonna do to his sister's body. And so the old friend R-words him. Episode 13 is the aftermath. Maru gets worried that Haruki's been gone for 2 days. He goes and sees what happened. So he beats the dog shit at the old friend. But Haruki tells Maru to not kill him. While Haruki is crying, for whatever reason, Maru confesses his love again for whoever the person Kiriko or Haruki is now. After crying for a few more hours, Haruki is all good and dandy now.
What?
This really pissed me off. It's so idiotic. It's just bad writing. Yo, you and your sister's body will go through a very traumatic event, but you'll get over it in a few hours. Like, what the fuck do you mean? That doesn't make sense. What purpose did this serve? If this was earlier in the season, then sure it would have had time to sit and develop the characters affected by it. Also, why didn't Maru confess again? Like,
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
whatever. Master I dropped after the first season was over. This was another one that was being hyped up. I don't know why. Can y'all please hype up shows that deserve it and are actually interesting? It tries being like One Punch Man and a little bit like Harry Potter, which doesn't logically make sense in a world with wizards. Like, I'm sorry, if I was born with 2 stripes and I'm supposed to be him, but I lose to this motherfucker who has no magic, I'm doing a backflip off my broom. And yes, I know that's the joke, but that's the thing. The humor is very bland. It's dry. It has no seasoning. It was mostly boring. And I was hoping that it would have gotten better at some point. Unfortunately, no. Not even the characters could carry my interest in the show. Honestly, either none of them had any personality or they were similar to one another. There's nothing cool about them or anything that makes me want to learn more. Match himself is a joke. The only thing I want to know is why cream puffs? This is just a stale show with poor execution and unfunny gags. It's wasted potential. I feel like you can do a lot here and spin on things. Maybe they do later on. Who knows? Tokyo Revengers I dropped out of the first half of season 2. I mean, come on, there's just so many dumb things about this anime. I will say the first season isn't bad. It's pretty solid. But the second half of it, you can start to see the fuckery. You know it's about to get real goofy. Why does a 16-year-old look like a grown man? Why is he so fucking tall and aki? How in the hell is this even fair? It basically took 5 of them to stop him. And one of them was his sister. Side note, why when he Falcon punches her? Whoever directed this episode was like, you know what this serious moment needs? A panty shot. Why? Will they ever explain how Takemichi got his ability? And speaking of Akemichi, let's talk about the biggest problem with this anime. Akemichi is by far top 10 one of the worst protagonists of any media. He's useless. He's whiny. Honestly, he just lets people die. He's part of the reason I dropped this anime. He was a nuisance. There was no character development. I will never understand how the hell Hinata still had feelings for him all those years. Shout out to her for beating his ass. And the other reason I dropped this, besides all the BS ways, cat moments, and edginess, from what I heard, the ending is pretty Mickey Mouse. It wasn't good. Let's be honest, I feel like this whole thing could easily be resolved, but Akemichi would do some kind of training, you know, actually learn how to fight, maybe just defend himself. Overall, even though this anime is bad, it's a fun bad watch, so I can't blame you for watching it. And lastly, Goblin Slayer. This one I haven't dropped yet, but I most likely will because season 2 was such a disappointment. What a letdown, especially coming from season 1. I feel like the quality of everything overall took a massive hit. It did not feel the same. I don't know if it was the content or how it was adapted, but those first 4 episodes were fucking god awful. And it was all because of one really annoying character. But honestly, it didn't get that much better. Sure, it was a little more enjoyable, but that wasn't hard to do. I said this in my video how Reddit feels about the fall anime season. I don't think shows like Goblin Slayer can compete or be on the same level as shows like Frieren, Jobless Reincarnation, and ReZero, maybe even more shows coming in the future, or even Eren right now, which is really sad. I really liked the first season. It was good. And I had high expectations for season 2, but it wasn't good. It didn't bring anything new. It felt like the plot didn't progress much. What is the end goal? I know it's called Goblin Slayer, but it has to be more to it. And there weren't any new characters that were introduced that were interesting. Something that was really jarring to me was when in the hell did Goblin Slayer get a harem? I know the farm girl always liked him, but when did the priestess and the elf girl develop feelings for him? And has the swordman always been so enamored and horny for him? Because I don't recall that. It was really odd and distracting. It felt like the show became a harem halfway through the season, and it lost sight of what made the first season good. Yeah, this is very tragic. Well, that's everything I dropped last year. Not much else to add. We'll see how this year's anime turn out. Hopefully I'm not too disappointed or let down. Now let me know your thoughts in the comments. Was I wrong for dropping any of these? Did you drop anything? Or just leave a random comment. So with that, I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Share with everything you might enjoy my content. Other than that, I'm out.